When did you realize you were different to other people and how you related to them?
I think that most people think they're unique and that they have a destiny and that they have something special about themselves. So I naturally had that. But I think from my very first thoughts that I can remember, I just felt alienated from the world around me. It started to become more apparent that I was different and that there was something wrong, so to speak, when I would engage with kids in the neighborhood, and I would try to, or I would say things, or I would do things that I thought were funny or were acceptable, and that everybody else would join in, and they would be aghast at what I would do.
Mm.
And so when I would see the response from others, I realized, why is that not acceptable? Why is that not embraced by other people? And so I started then to consider that something was at least different. I didn't think wrong, but I thought different.
Yeah. Can you give some examples of these interactions?
Well, there was a preoccupation with sex from a very early age. Maybe, I mean, like I can remember maybe like 4 or 5. With anybody I met, male, female, and then there was that. So if that was broached, the subject was broached with others, that I could see either an instant rejection. So I wondered why they didn't relate that way.
Mm.
And then also specifically, like there was a Halloween and a woman on our street husband had died, and she put a bowl out on her porch with a sign that said, "Please take one" on Halloween night. And I said, "Let's take the whole bowl."
Mm.
And my friends were like, "No, she's mourning. She's not here." And it was natural for me to just say, so what? Her husband died. Okay. I didn't think that. I just thought, let's just take the whole bowl. Mm. So that I always remember that. And then we had a pair of twins, Larry and John, who were blind from birth, and everybody catered to them. I would try to lead them into trouble. Like when it rained, I would take them and say, "Follow me," and I'd take them by the hand and I'd lead them to a puddle for them to step in their new boots, not their waterproof boots. And people found out about that. Like my parents found out, and they were so angry that I would do that. I thought it was funny. Mm. But no one found humor in it. And so those things start adding up when you're very young, and you just start to wonder, what is it? Mm. So it's things like that.
Did you have an understanding as a child and a young man of what empathy for other people was?
No.
No.
None.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew intellectually, you're taught empathy, and your religion and your schools teach empathy. So intellectually, I understood that I should feel those things, but I don't think I had any empathy or feeling for another person at all, and their needs, especially if those needs trumped mine. Mm-hmm. If they got in the way of my needs, I felt that I didn't even consider them. Yeah. And sometimes didn't even consider people human, just things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a side to living without a conscience that is liberating?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Watch The Sopranos. Look at Tony Soprano. Mm. I mean, if you have no empathy, you can do anything, and the world is your oyster. Mm. So it's a very, in this world, if this is a, man eat man, dog eat dog world, then having no empathy serves you to get what you want and be completely driven by your needs and no repercussions of conscience. That was my problem. It's like with the woman whose husband died, or Larry and John, I had no conscience. I didn't feel like anything was wrong. And so it's very, very convenient in this world to not have empathy at all, because there's no conscience that comes with it. And so I find it very, very convenient. Yeah. And you have to resist it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were the downsides at the time of living without empathy, without a conscience? Were there any?
Well, I think what happened with me is I learned that when I was getting rejected by friends for actions or attitudes, I learned that I had to then make up for that with charm. So I started, the downside was I would lose friends. And, one day I remember specifically, had to have been about 7. My friends in the neighborhood all got together. I woke up on a Saturday. We always got together on a Saturday, and there was no one in the neighborhood. And in the 60s, that was huge. Where's everybody? And I started riding my bike around, and I finally went to a McDonald's, and they were all there, and I was not invited. And that, I responded to that with anger, and I took the dominant role in that, and I overtook the group and said, "What are you doing without me?" And then I brought them back in as my friends. Okay. But I knew that alienation was being introduced to my world because I was not pleasing people somehow. So I started to learn, okay, I have to charm them. I can't just be the alpha dog. I have to be charming too. Okay. And so the downside was you introduce inauthenticity to yourself. Because I'm acting charming, I'm acting caring, I'm acting like I want to do these things, but inwardly, I don't give a shit. I don't know if I can say that on our podcast.
You can say what you want.
I don't give a shit about what anybody is doing, but I have to pretend like I do. And that began this person that became me by the time I was 14, 15.
Yeah.